Hey, it's Lewis Michael. Thanks for listening. Are you a creator that would like to reach out to our fans with a custom ad? As a comic book artist and podcaster myself, Geeking Around Podcast is here to help other creators advertise their projects. Not only will you get a audio and video ad, you will get a social media ad campaign as well. Click on the Fiverr Fiverr link in the description. Start advertising today. Hello, this is Lewis Michael.
And this is Gabby Christensen, your co-host.
And welcome to the podcast.
This is Gabrielle Christensen, your co-host.
I'm Lewis Michael.
It's good to have you back for another episode of Geeking Around.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow and like and subscribe to us. Check out the links that'll be listed in the video description below, and it'll take you to our merch store. We have some t-shirts available. There's a webcomic that Michael does. It's pretty awesome and tells little kind of funny short stories.
Yeah, this the next one is gonna be one that features our friend Josh and how me and him will tease each other about I always get an iPhone, he always gets a Samsung and stuff. So you gotta check that out.
Yep. Give the Wolfman some love.
I'm sorry, what?
Give the Wolfman some love. You know, Josh is werewolf, so.
Yeah, Josh always into werewolves and stuff. That's why you like Twilight. But also my other comic, Kira, has recently just been monetized on Tapas. So that's pretty cool. So if you go there, now I get some ad revenue.
Very cool.
I don't think you get much reading what other people have said, but still, I mean, I got over almost 100 subscribers on there, and I'm Geeking Around is pretty close to that as well. I think there was 70 at least.
Very cool. Very neat.
Make sure to check those stuff out, and I'm trying to work on more comics and stuff. I think I'm going to do a light novel Falls and then make that into a webcomic, then eventually do a Kickstarter to have it printed and stuff.
That'd be pretty awesome. Is that the concept art you had before?
Yes.
Sweet. I'm excited about that then.
And plus I got a whole bunch of ideas going as well.
All something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been up to this week?
Nothing.
Nothing?
We did watch that Fear Screen.
Yeah.
And watched all of those. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I mean, when we was watching it was 94?
Yeah.
1994, the false one. Me and my sister was watching it, and we kept going back to making saying jokes and lines from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
That movie that parodies of scary movies like Scream and teen slashers back in the 90s. So we kept going back to that, and I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I understand it based off of R.L. Stein's books that was more meant for just teens.
Right.
So it wasn't supposed to be super, super scary. And then we get to 1978. Well, of course, that's, Friday the 13th and stuff. And because I more was a fan of the 80s slashers, I kind of liked that battle in a way. I don't think as a movie wise that was any better than what the false one 1994. And also, since when did people had an internet in 1994? I mean,
yeah.
I don't remember even having anything to do with the internet until 2000.
Yeah, that kid
and
was.
My mom was she went for college. She just minored in it for computers and stuff. So I mean, that's why we always had a computer, but we never had internet or anything like that. But that kid was typing away on him. And
Yeah, he had his little
AOL
instant
and
messenger
stuff.
up and was
Like, wait, what? And it made me feel so damn old too, because like I remember a lot of those songs coming out, on the radio. It's like, here's the fall single from blah blah blah.
yeah,
And,
9 Inch Nails playing in the background. It's just like, oh,
it's like, wait, that song came out back then? Like I thought it was a little bit more close to the late '90s and the early 2000s, but no.
no,
It's like,
it's wonderful.
yeah, I was like, man, I'm getting old. And then I started popping all these damn pills that the doctor prescribed me. So
Well,
had to go get, new shoes for better padding because my back hurts,
speaking of old, I did get to go see the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old. It's pretty good. Pretty wonderful, I'd say. I've seen mixed reviews for it online, but I had a good time watching it.
I think Signs was his last good movie, and that was 20 years ago.
Nah, this one was pretty good. Pretty good effects. So, also had the guy from Hereditary in it, the lead actor, one of the lead actors in Hereditary.
Yeah, the son.
Yeah, I know his last name's Wolf, so Robert Wolf, I believe. Yeah, it was pretty good little watch. If you've never seen the horror movie The Special, I recommend that one highly. That was it's not scary, but it's like a Twilight Zone episode, a kind of edgy Twilight Zone episode.
Edgy, and as in you have a feminist with a haircut and shaved half off. Edgy, it's progressive.
It's edgy because she used a straight edge blade to chop it. And Code Vein. Code Vein's a great video.
I felt like I haven't watched that many things this week since last time. But I felt like I have, though. I just can't remember why I really have watched.
It means it wasn't any good. Now, we both have watched our main topic, and of course, I thought it was really good.
And keeps on getting worse and worse as Kevin Smith keeps talking.
I don't pay attention to what he says, so I just keep enjoying it in oblivion. Although I did hear that there was a 2002, I don't even remember a 2002 He-Man coming out. Apparently aired on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
I never watched that one, so I would like to watch that eventually, but right now it costs money. And I couldn't find the original He-Man, so...
Yeah, neither could I. I think you actually got paid for it.
Yeah, maybe buy a box set of it and watch it. I was interested in rewatching it just because I was pretty young when I watched it, the first time.
I think you can on the official He-Man YouTube channel watch a lot of them. I don't think it has all the episodes, but a lot of full-length episodes they do have.
Nice.
So normally we talk about Apple in this section and stuff. There's some more rumors about the iPad mini, about the redesign, and it's going to be more like the iPad Pro or the iPad Air, where they took out the home button. Now it's much bigger screen and stuff. Although at least that's what people are thinking, that they're going to move up the screen. But I did hear also they may just move down the bezels, so it's still the same screen size, but overall shape they're going to be much smaller. Kind of hope it just make the screen bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's like 7.9, so if you make the screen a little bit better, it might be more 8.5 or something, so that'd be kind of cool. Be a lot bigger because it's smaller than what the iPad Pro and the iPad Air is. That there'll be a new Apple Pencil that's going to be short on, because the way it charges, you put it on the side of the iPad, and because the Apple Pencil got now is actually too long for the iPad mini to be stuck on there, attached to the side to charge, so they gotta make a small one. And I hope that will mean that we eventually will get the iPhone, at least the iPhone Pro Max. I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, you got a 6-inch screen, a 6.7, I think. It's pretty close to 7.9. I mean, That's just an inch off. Yeah, I hope that means that get the Apple Pencil with the iPhone.
So kind of like the Samsung Note was, because I don't believe they're making the Samsung Note anymore, correct?
I think they false said that, and then I think they're going to start doing it again.
Okay, good, because it's a good phone.
Yeah, I don't need an iPad mini, but be cool to have one. My iPad Pro is getting pretty slow. I mean, it's a false gen iPad Pro, and I just don't have so old now, 5 years at least.
Right.
I'd be getting like more of the 2018 iPad Pro, or at least like was it 2020 iPad Air, because that basically the iPad Pro 11, and it's just slightly less powerful, not pretty much not enough to even really notice. But yeah, I want an Apple Pencil on the iPhone. Do it, Apple. And I want an iMac with an Apple Pencil too.
I mean, I could see definitely the iMac. That would be really useful.
Yeah, be like more like the Microsoft Studio. So you got your iMac where you can draw on it. Then you got the iPad Pro where you can take it, continue working on it while you're out and about stuff. And then you can have your iPad Mini or your iPhone as something that you can just put in your pocket.
I could see the iPhone definitely being the better version of that, especially like Samsung Note. They could do a lot of interesting things with it. So
yeah, I remember there where we worked at, there was a lot of times you took out the pen and wrote something down, like a note or something.
Yep.
I know where I work at now, I'm co-working with Ronald, and he'd do the exact same thing, and just like it just comes in handy really well at times. And then if you're an artist, well, you can sketch something out real quick and stuff, or if you're like, say you're a reporter, you could you interviewing someone,
or you need to point something out on a video or something.
Yeah,
because that was another useful thing, is on a picture, if you needed to highlight or underline something, you could do a screenshot, screen capture, screen write. So
yeah, or if you're looking at a PDF, or and you don't have your computer right there to highlights, the important parts and stuff, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, but Apple gonna slowly do it. This year we're gonna get the Pro Motion that makes it make the Apple Pencil be like so smooth and high refresh rate and stuff. So that the iPhone 13 is getting that, and maybe iPhone 14 will get the Apple Pencil. I think we should get to the main topic.
Let the let the contention begin.
Okay, so this is Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1.
Woo.
So, by the power of Grayskull, Netflix Master of the Universe Revelation Part 1 doesn't quite have the power, unfortunately. Super fanboy and director Kevin Smith is at the helm of this epic sword and sorcery show. Powerhouse Animation Studios, known for the celebrated Castlevania anime series, have returned once again to help Smith craft a visually striking new series. Mihael, created an original storyline, also returns to help produce the new show. Master of the Universe Revelation is meant to be a direct sequel to the original 1983 He-Man and the Masters of the Universe animated series, while still being appealing to a new, younger audience. After a fierce battle between He-Man and Skeletor, voiced by Chris Wood and Mark Hamill, Eternia is fractured forever. Magic is dying throughout the land as Tila, voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, bands together with old friends and enemies to reforge the missing Sword of Power and to prevent the end of the universe. On her epic journey, the once proud warrior will at last discover the secrets of Castle Grayskull. Masters of the Universe Revelation does its best to retain the aesthetic characteristics and sensibility of the original 1983 animated series. However, it adds an updated visual and irreverent narrative. Showrunner Kevin Smith gives fans of old and new plenty of references, Easter eggs, and even at times dive deep into Master of the Universe lore. The cheesy one-liners of the old animated series are here as well, with some respectable tongue-in-cheek mockery of it. There are many things to love about the new anime series, particularly the designs and animation. Powerhouse Animation Studios deliver the fans yet another jaw-dropping, gorgeous, and fantastical action-packed battle scenes. However, there are at times the animation felt stiff and the weight of the high intense impact felt weak. All the characters are given a new, updated, and edgier design, while still being true to the original character designs from the old series. Each character designs are fitting to the character's personality. Like the False Avenger, Kevin Smith assembles a super team of impressive voice talent. Leah Headey as Eva Lynn and Liam Cunningham as Men-at-Arms will stand out performance, providing such emotional range for their characters. Stephen Roots as Kringle and Griffin Newman as Orko voice performance are noteworthy as well. Chris Wood as Prince Adam / He-Man was a perfect casting fit, although He-Man's voice could have been a little deeper. A veteran of voice acting, Mark Hamill stays true to the original voice of Skeletor, but completely different with an exaggerated, cartoony, yet menacing voice. Personally would have liked to see it as more like Tony Todd's Scarecrow. Legendary actor and original voice of Skeletor, Alan Oppenheimer, returned as the voice of Moss Man. Despite all the great things that come with Masters of the Universe Revelation, there are still many flaws. Even though all the marketing was heavily focused on He-Man and Skeletor, and Kevin Smith reassured fans this new anime is about He-Man, fans quickly discovered it was really a Teela show. This reveal isn't a flaw, however. Teela was turned into an entitled and bratty teenage daughter. Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance as the voice of Teela was dry and motionless. One could compare Teela to Rey from Star Wars, a Mary Sue with no real character traits or development. Orko had more character development than Teela did. However, there still is part 2. Even with the flaws in which the marketing and Kevin Smith created, Masters of the Universe Revelation still has action-packed animation and an ensemble of top-tier voice acting and plenty of homage to the original cartoon. Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a Teela apologist. However, see, I like to go into things as blind as possible. I hate getting spoilers. It just kind of ruins everything for me. So I knew there was a Masters of the Universe coming out because I was watching the She-Ra remake on Netflix, and then I heard about the Masters in the Universe coming out, new animation, and that's all that I cared to look into it because I wanted to not be spoiled on anything other than I did see that Mark Hamill was going to be Skeletor. So I could see why people would be disappointed if all the promotional stuff really showed He-Man and Skeletor and really played that up, and then it's just not what happens. I mean, it does happen at least. It's not a total, I can't even remember. There's been a lot of things in history that do that where they'll play something up and you're like, oh, okay, the whole movie's like Godzilla is a good representation of that. And they're like, oh, the whole movie you're going to see Godzilla and it's going to be really action packed, and then you don't see him.
Yeah, to the very end, it's all just about the people that you don't really care about.
Yep. Or Transformers falls into that a lot where you're like, I just want to see my robots talking. I don't care about the people. This one doesn't necessarily do that to me, but like I said, I'm a Teela apologist.
But yeah, even like the false tour line that based off this anime, it was actually all He-Man and Skeletor. Those was the false tours that went out to stores. Then after the show came out, that's when Teela and all the rest of them. So like every little bit was all about He-Man and Skeletor, and like I said, that wasn't really what Teela having Teela as the main character wasn't really a flaw. It's just that they did nothing but hyped it up to be just He-Man, and that's what everyone wanted to see was He-Man. And then these YouTubers didn't get to see a copy of the script, and because they actually work in Hollywood. I mean, now they doing independent stuff, but they were all comic book artists. They was all animators who all worked at Disney and Marvel and stuff, so they know a lot of people in the industry. So they got to see the script and they put it on Twitter, and they just say that this is just a rumor, even though they knew it was true because they actually got to see the script. They said that this is basically a Tila show. And well, Kevin Smith, even though they didn't tag Kevin Smith or Netflix or anyone like that, they just said, we hauled a room on. And well, Kevin Smith came on there and was like, oh well, fuck you guys, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. This is all about He-Man. And ever since then, continue to say, no, this is all about He-Man. I'd stop listening to fake, YouTubers or fake news from YouTubers. And they even said, like, in a YouTube video that, like, it's like, maybe we was wrong. Maybe it's just one of the episodes. Because there have been, like, episodes where it focused on one of the side characters. That's in every TV show.
Right.
And even He-Man, the original He-Man, there was an episode where it did focus on Tila. Or it did focus just on Men at Arms. Yeah, Orko and stuff.
Fucking Orko in the old series. They did a wonderful job with Orko in this one, I'll say that.
And then once the thing came out, Kevin Smith did the Rian Johnson thing, called out all the fans who hated it a bunch of crybabies, sexists, and it just Star Wars all over again.
Really?
Like, I'm getting too old for this shit.
The directors just need to stay off the internet when it comes to that stuff. Like, they see something and people hating on their product, they just need to sue them. They don't need to say anything on Twitter. They don't need to be Trump and get on there and be like, oh, well, your boobs are fake. I don't think anyone's ever said that as a comeback, for the record. I'm just thinking of something. People, they get stupid. They say weird stuff. They can handle themselves professionally. I know you have before with your stuff that you've published, that when people have comments on it that are less than nice, you usually respond in a nice way and say, oh, well, he could have contacted them privately and been like, guys, we want to do kind of a surprise thing with the show. We want to take it into a new direction and make it really, because it is an interesting, of course, spoilers for this whole thing. It's a ballsy move to kill off Skeletor and He-Man and for it to be the continuation and stuff, and that be what happens. And of course, at the end, they come back and then possibly die again, which was also amazing. I mean, there's nothing kind of more thrilling than to watch one of your favorite characters die in an interesting way on a TV series. So he could have just responded and said, guys, we're keeping this kind of a secret because we want it to be a big twist,
Yeah, but that wasn't what they was
advertising.
Yeah, they were just saying that this is not about He-Man, it's about Tila.
Right.
They wasn't saying that He-Man dies and Tila becomes, the Master of the Universe. Or, that's what's gonna happen. She gonna be She-Man or something. Actually, the rumors are is that her friend, I can't remember her name now, the black chick.
Yeah.
She's gonna actually be He-Man, and Tila, because she is the daughter of the sorceress, she will become the guardian of the Castle Grayskull, because that's what the sorceress is. But
that'd be interesting. I mean, that'd be good for her friend, who I can't.
But we didn't really know. We don't know anything about her friend. Or
well, other than that she wants to go on an adventure, and people keep telling her, "No, you really don't want to be on an adventure," and she just keeps going, "Yeah, I do."
But yeah, like I said, if they just was upfront about it, about what's gonna happen, and not sit there and attack the fans and stuff, I don't think there would be as big as a backlash as there was.
Agreed. I think it's pretty childish to get on the internet, and because there's better ways to do it. Just private message them and be like, guys, it's it's a secret. We're wanting to do something different, instead of calling them stupid and cussing at them and freaking out.
Why mentioned how Pablo Adago used to run his own Star Wars podcast and website. Like, he was one of us, one of the fans. And I said, super fanboy Kevin Smith, he got his own podcast and everything, and he's always at Comic-Con, promoting his own comics or his movies and stuff, or being a host at Comic-Con and all these other conventions and fandoms and stuff. He was one of us, and now he's attacking the fans, and it's like, alright.
Yeah, it's just not professional. Like I said, you have people who say things to you, and not the nicest things on your comics. They're kind of stupid things that people pointed out before, but you're nice to them in your response because you are, in a way, they are your customers. And that's kind of what these people forget, is that your fans are your customers. And it's kind of a situation where, okay, if somebody really is being toxic, call the police. I guess.
Well, I mean,
If they're really problematic, it's like you call security. So if
I
somebody
don't think
is
you can really call the cops because someone
on the
cussed at
internet.
you on Twitter.
Right, you
But, I
couldn't.
mean-
And you probably couldn't call cops on a customer for doing that. Now, if they were belligerently drunk, you could. But the point is, you can ignore your Twitter thread and just stay off of it. And that's probably the best thing for these creators to do, because I do
Yeah.
really enjoy this series. But I've been going into it completely blind, so I don't know how I would have felt about it if I would have known that Kevin Smith was being like that before I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Or how I would have felt about it if I had thought that He-Man was going to be in the whole series the whole time, you know? But I was going into it blind, so I enjoyed it.
But going back to the death of He-Man, because they killed He-Man and Skeletor in the false episode. The thing is, like, I know a lot of people compare that to, like, when Luke Skywalker died in The Last Jedi. And, like, no, because actually there, Luke Skywalker just died because he just died. I mean, Rian Johnson just, like, right, then Luke Skywalker just dies. And that was it. Where this time, He-Man has to sacrifice himself to save Eternia. I mean, I think it ended up kind of causing backlash. I mean,
A ripple effect, kind of.
yeah, and that kind of ended up not actually saving it. I mean, it saved it, but like something bad happened with it because the magic started dying off. But no, he sacrificed. He, and that's what a hero does. They sacrifice themselves for, you know, to protect people, protect, you know, the kingdom and whatever. So when he died, it was actually a good death.
And
I actually had no problem with him dying.
it was actually a good death too for Skeletor, because it made sense for Skeletor to be like, no, I want the power too, give it to me. It's like, he's obviously dying, Skeletor, back off.
But yeah, so speaking of He-Man and Skeletor, like Chris Wood, who's voiced He-Man, I thought he did great, especially as Prince Adam.
Right.
Because like in the original one, like the voice actor sound very much like a radio host or something.
Yeah.
He has that kind of thing to him, and I just always thought that was kind of weird. And
I did like the change in character design for He-Man versus Prince Adam too, where it was more believable that you wouldn't necessarily put two together, that He-Man and Prince Adam were the same person, because in the original,
there was
the same. He just put a loincloth on, and everyone's like, yeah, I don't know who you are. Like, there was a subtle change in eye color and stuff too. So that was more believable. I did like that.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I just wish like Chris Wood would have went a little bit deep on Wizard Force for He-Man. You know, it was fine. Like this, me just very like badly nitpicking. You know, like all he really did was put a reball to kind of make it sound more echo, almost like to try to make it loud, like when you speak it fills the room, you know what I'm trying to say. But went a little bit deeper. I think just go a little deeper. And Skeletor, which Mark Hamill, you know, the original one that had that very nasally, very cartoony voice that's almost made it like he's not even really that
big of a villain.
Like Mark Hamill continued to do that, but like he did his own voice. And I kind of wish they just made like the what was it called, the Scareglow, that when they go to the underworld or whatever, that Skeletor, like he had this really deep, scary voice, voiced by Tony Todd, who plays Candyman.
Nice.
And so like I thought like that'd be so cool. I wish they did that for Skeletor, but I guess like because I think they actually did talk about this in like Tila and Evelyn talk about this in the show, where Skeletor like purposely like talked like that, like because he had such a big ego and stuff, and so it makes sense, and they kind of made sense of it. But yeah, like the voice acting was great. I just felt like Sarah Michelle Gellar's performance was very dry. Like it just, to me, she just read the script, recorded, there you go. And like she did mention in the, if you watch the behind the scene documentary after the show, she talked about how her husband, Freddie Jones from Scooby Doo. No, that's real for real. He played Freddy. In the live action Scooby Doo, and play the one Jedi and Rebel, the main one.
Oh, Ezra?
No, his master.
Oh.
The blind, who ended up being blind.
Yeah. That guy.
Caden. Yeah, he plays him. They converted one of the guest rooms or something into a recording studio. So, my understanding that Kevin Smith or any of the producers wasn't there. So, to me, it kind of sounds like she really did just record it. Bam, there you go. I mean, since Freddie Prinze, his name is actually Freddie Prinze Jr., not Freddie Jones, but Freddie Prinze, her husband, has been in voice acting so much. Like, you would think it'd been better than that. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like it was very emotionless and dry, and like it literally just sounded like she just read the script. You know, like when you read something, you read it really fast, you know, but you just like blah, 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 blah. Except for me, when I read stuff, I gotta go slow because I gotta think about it. That's how I felt like. And it's like there's actually one line in Batman The Long Halloween where Jensen did sound like he was doing that he just read the line and not actually acted. Because like people, like, I don't know why they think that when it's voice acting you don't have to actually still act. Like, no, you still gotta act. That's why I call it voice acting.
Yeah, you still gotta try to bring that emotion in.
But
interesting.
Evil Lynn, she did great. Liam Cunningham, I think he was really great at Men at Arms, and
everyone was great. I didn't notice it as I'm very what's a derogatory term for someone who's real normal? Tofu, maybe? I'm gonna call myself tofu. I'm a real tofu viewer. I don't really notice things unless it's extremely atrocious, so I didn't really pick up on Tila's. I mean, there was a couple of times where she her lines were kind of hammy in delivery, especially with Scareglow. But I got enough emotion from her at the appropriate time, especially her dialogue with Evil Lynn, because they had a couple of times they were catting each other for having crushes on idiots. Although, okay, Tila didn't have a crush on an idiot, Evil Lynn does. That's okay.
There was that one at the very beginning where she said, "For Antonia."
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "For Antonia." That's how it sounded to me. I'm like, what? This is supposed to be like a battle cry, you know, get your troops ready and Antonia.
For Antonia.
Oh my god, Dad, you didn't tell me about He-Man, who he really was? I'm out of here.
I do admit, the first episode you're right, she did kind of have that weird twang going on.
And speaking of them lying to him, or not telling him that He-Man was Prince Adam, it's like, I like, what was the temper tantrum about? Like, I didn't understand why she got so mad about it. To me, it makes sense that if she was mad at the king for getting so mad at her father on Man at Arms for not telling him,
and then trying to kill him, pretty much.
But or she just left. And he's like, "No, you're not gonna speak to my dad. If he leaves, I leave." And
right.
That would make more sense. Or her just like, "You know what? Fuck you all. You all lied to me. I'm out. Fuck you, this shit. I'm out. Peace." Well, she probably didn't say peace. She dropped the mic and just leaves.
She's just like, "I'm done."
And it's like, I don't know. I just didn't like Tila at all.
Like I said, I'm a Tila apologist. I think her attitude, they weren't writing her with that attitude to give her an excuse to have that attitude. I think it's going to be something, at least I'm hoping, in season 2 they address her having a shitty attitude about it. Because her friend, I gotta find out who her friend was. Fucking internet's not telling me what her friend was. Her friend's name was. Keep freaking calling her friend. She has a name. Elena. Yeah, Elena. Okay. Elena kind of, brought it up a little bit and was just like, why did you leave everything behind? Kind of.
Because they lied to me. My dad lied to me. I mean, that's literally what's our excuse.
Right.
Would be our excuse.
I think throughout the whole season, she was confronted with why it's a bad idea to keep running away from things instead of talking it out with people. That's kind of what I see as her character arc, is that she's going to have to stop running away from her responsibilities and stop running away from people and blaming them, because they hinted at she's not really mad at Adam and at her dad and them for not telling her that he was He-Man. I think they're more or less saying she was mad at them because now she has to take on everything she never wanted to, kind of thing, kind of character arc. She doesn't want to be a hero. She doesn't want to be forced to be one. So she's just being mad and being childish about it, but I think it's something they're going to address and make her correct as part of her character.
If you don't want to be the hero, don't become the captain's guard.
Well, there's a difference
or she
between...
become actually the men at arms.
Yeah.
So she a
man at arms. But I think back then it was fun because she had He-Man to rely on. But then if He-Man's gone, which also Adam would have been her charge to take care of. So I could see why you'd be mad at the person you're supposed to defend also going out and putting themselves in danger beside you and being like, it's fine, don't worry about me, don't question it.
I didn't see it like that.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm definitely an apologist, so she is a redhead. You know how I feel about redheads. So
well, one thing that for all the people that like Teela but hates Gina Carano, you know who Teela was based off of? Gina Carano. So all you people out there on Twitter who hates Gina, but I'm pretty sure will like Teela, can't really hate like her if she is based off someone that you hate.
But I bet you those people you're talking about won't like Teela because she still likes He-Man and very much still, or Prince Adam, still very much is in love with Prince Adam, and they're not going to like that about her character.
No, the producers themselves even said that there's a love interest between her and her friend
Elena.
So.
I didn't really catch on to that because they seem more like...
Yeah, just best friends.
Yeah, just solid best friends.
Yeah, I didn't catch on that either, but no, they said they was.
Especially since the whole time when she was hanging out with Evil Lynn, all she did was talk about how she loved Adam, He-Man. That's all they did, is talk about that and being like, oh, you were in love with Skeletor. Well, you were in love with He-Man.
So you gotta pandle to that 5% on Twitter.
And what about Elena? Does Elena even want to love her? I doubt it. Elena seems like a strong, independent woman who doesn't need anyone.
Robot. She liked that robot.
She did.
Roboto.
Exactly. She don't need nobody. She just needs her tech and go out and build machines and destroy stuff. That's all Elena needs. Don't bring her down. Don't make her be the secondary love interest. That would be shitty.
So going to the animation and stuff, this was done by the people that did Castlevania, which had great animation and stuff. But there was a few scenes, like in the fight scenes, where it just seemed a little stiff. Like it didn't flow all that great with the animation. And I don't know if I really explained it very well when I said weight of the high intense impact felt weak. Well, I was meaning He-Man throws a punch at Skeletor and he goes all like Super Saiyan and stuff. He's like, and it's like it supposed to be like bam, but it was like it didn't feel like it. There was this a large impact with it, and it just the anticipation was there, but the payoff wasn't.
Right.
I'm trying to explain it, but it winded up, but it just nothing come out,
Yeah, I didn't really catch on to that in the He-Man and Skeletor fights. I thought those were done really well. I caught on to it more in the secondary villain fights when they're fighting secondary villains. It just kind of...
Well, it happened throughout.
Did it?
I just using that as an example.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happened throughout all the fights. And
well, I was going to say, with He-Man and Skeletor, that seemed like... Because all I can remember is He-Man winding up to punch and it getting Skeletor pretty good in the face. Pretty sure. But for all the other fights I did, definitely with Scareglow too. That was very kind of anticlimactic. But I'll kind of forgive that. In a way... Forgive that, because it's supposed to be for younger audiences. That in mind, though, the very last episode with He-Man straight up getting stabbed by Skeletor and seeing all the blood and stuff, that's pretty not necessarily for younger audiences.
Yeah, I don't really think they really knew who they wanted to go with. And I know I read one review saying that either you should have went more adult thing like Castlevania, or went more like Shira, more of a kids thing, not try to do both, and it was in the middle. And I think they should have went more adult, and I think even better.
Yeah, well, because they were pretty much at the adult level, and then you could have had like teenage, Young Justice instead of kid.
Yeah.
I mean, all people of all ages buy toys, so Mattel wouldn't have lost out.
But like, I did like a lot of the character design besides Tila.
No, I gotta say I liked her character design. I definitely liked it a lot better than the old character design, because oh my god, that hair. It really bugged me in that first episode where she was wearing the stupid tiara and her stupid hair. Princess Leia can pull off the bun hair. I understand they probably did it to save on animation back in the day. It's just that was a really dumb hairstyle.
Yeah.
I also kind of wondered if they didn't go with her hair looking like that, because it looked very much like Castlevania. Oh my god, I'm going to forget her name. People are going to hate me. Magical sorceress lady in Castlevania. Sypha. It looked like Sypha's hair.
No, she didn't have the
It wasn't cut that short on the side. It wasn't buzzed on the side, but it was the short with the long bangs.
Because she had to disguise herself as a guy.
Yeah, and the long bang thing hanging down. So that kind of was curious to me that was very close to...
Tila sucked.
And I'm a Tila apologist, so of course I'm going to be like, oh no guys, she was Sypha. Remember Sypha? We love Sypha.
But yeah, like, I didn't, like, really her design is better than what was in the original cartoon. But I saw this artist who did Tila, and he pretty much had the same outfit, but he changed her hair. Basically, the only really thing he did was change her hair to been not the lesbian feminist hair do that they always do anytime there's supposed to be a strong female lead.
I mean, they didn't say exactly why she decided to cut her hair.
'Cause she's a feminist, she's a lesbian. That's what they all do.
But she still liked Adam.
No, but he just said that that she liked her friend
Elena. Man, I hope Elena does not like her back, and that she just straight up's like, but I like my machine.
She's gonna be like Miles Morales, and into the spider bones, like, how to keep yourself out of her friend zone. Your friend zone will fall. Like, that what happened. Like, it looked like she was about to say "I love you" to him, and he just like, friends. Like, okay, and then they hold hands, and then she jumped back into the time warps thing. And back to the whole thing.
That's her whole thing about running the fuck away. She's just like, no, I gotta run away. I of course, again, like I said, I'm a Tila apologist. I don't have a problem with the hair. I like that hairstyle on women. So, in fact, I think I had that haircut once.
Before everyone else did. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Just how, like, you was listening to Greet Van Fleet before everyone started listening to it on TikTok.
Who?
Greta Van Fleet. They like today's version of Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
Yeah, I played it a lot of times there at work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, now I'll know. If anyone's
that was
ever
like 2 years ago, so so I was listening to those bands way before you all did, just like Coheed and Camera. I didn't know anyone had listened to Coheed and Camera, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, check this new band out. I'm like, new? They ain't new. They've been out since 2000.
Yeah, they have. That was way back. That was
while.
Deep emo shit. Good old... Man, I forgot what program I used to use. Aries, I think? Yeah, that was good old Aries days.
Aries?
Yeah, it was a program I got to download music back in the day.
So you didn't use LimeWire?
Nah. Nope. I heard LimeWire had viruses, so I got the other program that had viruses.
Yeah. I still didn't pay.
Now, speaking of hair, Evil Lynn, I liked her hair reveal. I don't know how she's keeping that all up in her helmet, but...
Magic.
Yeah.
It's black magic.
That would be freaking hilarious if that's why Evil Lynn, you're evil. Why? Because you keep your hair up in your helmet somehow. We don't know. It defies gravity.
But But yeah, like everyone, character design was actually very good. I liked a lot of it.
Yeah, I
Like I
liked
said,
Elena. Now that I can remember her name, she was. I think the thing is, Elena has such a normal name, and everyone else in the series does not have a normal name. But we call Elena Elena.
I like Luke.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, everyone else has these sci-fi names, and you got Luke.
yeah, yeah. Obi Wan, Anakin, Luke. Even Leia, his sister, even got a cool name. He's just like, nah, you're
Yeah,
just
well,
Luke.
Leia is like a known name, but way you spell Leia is different.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, Luke.
Luke. So yeah, she's our Luke of the series. Poor Elena. She didn't even get to do much during the last part. Now I'm getting kind of upset about that, Elena, because they made her really cool. She got
Racist. The racist.
apparently
Netflix racist. I'm saying that now.
because Elena was cool at the first. She was doing a lot of shit, and then like especially when they went in and were doing the whole scare glow thing, and Roboto. Was that his name? I think it was Roboto, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, Roboto.
Roboto.
It always seems wrong when I say it. I'm like, nah, I'm making that up. But yeah, her and Roboto and Beastman are all in the same area together. I'm like, oh, we're not gonna. I mean, you're all right. They didn't give Elena any character development other than she was cool, but they didn't say much else about her, why she was doing anything other than she wanted to go on adventures, and her dad told her everything was really awesome and pretty much go be an adventurer.
Yeah, like the main characters did not get character development. I mean, like I said, like Orko and Evil Lynn, they all got character development.
Beastman didn't.
Oh yeah,
He got
but
to
he
keep.
wasn't the main.
No.
Main. Like Tila wasn't the main.
Dude, I never. Of course, that's all why I want to go back and watch like the original He-Man, and then there was a 2002 He-Man that'd be neat to watch too. But apparently, Beastman in the original story was from Earth. Like he was legitimately a human from Earth that got teleported to Eternia somehow. I never knew that. That's why he simps for Evil Lynn. He's all about that life. So yeah, Masters of the Universe. I'm looking forward to the future. We'll see if I get my hopes incredibly crushed when they don't end up doing anything with Tila, and they're just, or they do the lazy writing thing where they'll probably do the lazy writing thing where Adam dies and she's like, oh no, I was so wrong about everything I did, and then that's the end of it, instead of like going through and having her say sorry to her dad and talk it out with him and talk to people that she's actually been running away from and making her face her fears, instead just going, ah, no, it's okay, she accepted it.
Yeah, that's another thing you say. Faced with fears and stuff, and that scare glow. She says she has no fears.
Even though Scareglow just said she did have fears, her fears
Yeah,
were
and she's like, no, for Eternia.
Yeah.
And then she ends up beating him. Like that. That literally was the scene. And it's like, what?
it was
It kind
kind
of goes back to what I was saying, that she's just a Mary Sue, just like Ray. There's nothing wrong with them. But to me, the fact that she has nothing wrong with them kind of makes her a bad character.
well,
I mean, you gotta have, like, Luke failed a bunch of times. There was problems with Luke, but he overcomes those.
yeah, Mattel needs to, well, I guess not necessarily Mattel, but James Smith needs to pick a lane. It kind of goes back to that whole adult versus children thing. That I said the name wrong again, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you say James Smith.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Smith.
Ah, there we go. Kevin Smith needs to pick a lane because it kind of goes into the whole children. Like He-Man was, He-Man won every battle. He might have been temporarily stopped, but he won every battle.
Yeah.
Kind of childish thing, but then again, they're trying to make it more serious. So her all of a sudden getting a super power up, it just kind of, it's like, well, not even She-Ra did that, because watching, I said She-Ra like she was Mum-Ra, the ever-living. Anyway, She-Ra didn't even do that. The character went through, she got her power up, had issues, failed a lot, failed her friends. That was just better writing. But Tila, I think what they're trying to do, like I keep thinking at least, or hoping and praying, is that her whole avoidance and how she's been treating people in her life is her character flaw that she's going to have to work on going forward, and that's going to give her the power, because He-Man always cared about his friends. And as you know, every protagonist must care about their friends.
Yeah.
Goku, Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah.
Goku. he dies and let the other people die, and then let his son be trained by his ex-enemy. And
while he's up there eating a bunch of food, being seduced by snake demons. Didn't work though. He just wanted the food.
Left his wife all alone, but she had to go live with her father.
A few times. Yeah, just be Goku. It's alright. Yeah. Greatest of all protagonists.
I myself not looking for part 2 because I don't think it's gonna get any better, and I don't know.
What should we bet on this? This is the first time we've actually been pretty solidly divided on a topic. You know, whether or not it's going to be good or not. And I'm hopeful until they prove me wrong.
I'm not going to bet because I know I'm
right. That's when you're supposed to bet, Michaels, when you know you're right. That's when you're like, ah, yeah, I put 100 to 1. Odds on the horse with 3 legs. It's fine.
Like you said, the voice acting was great, besides Tila's. The character design, great, besides Tila's. The animation was great, besides Tila.
No, they did actually do good on her animation.
Yeah, it was just like throughout, like everyone had that, at least that one point where it seemed stiff and stuff. Like everyone did, even He-Man, even, Men at Arms, all of them. And speaking of Men at Arms, like every single one is, like every time he was in the scene, like he was just a total badass.
Yeah, he was.
It's like, why couldn't his daughter be like that?
That's why he was the most dangerous man, because she was too busy going off on adventures with He-Man. I'm trying to remember, she wasn't supposed to go on adventures with He-Man in the original, right? Like, I remember that being kind of a problem, that she would leave and go off, because I think she was supposed to be back at the castle.
Yeah, she was a castle guard and stuff.
And she'd go off on these adventures, and she wasn't supposed to, so that's just what happens.
Yeah. But I guess let's go into the news.
All right. Welcome to the news section. The topics for this monthly podcast we're going to talk about. So, as streaming is going to probably pick back up, and it's not going anywhere, especially now, it is bringing up some interesting issues. As in, the star of Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, has filed a lawsuit against Disney. The suit is being filed because Disney allowed premium users on the Disney Plus app to stream the movie at the same time as the theatrical release. This cut into the profit that Johansson would have made from the movie, as her contract stated that she would be compensated depending on how the movie did at the box office. And I guess it became an issue because they were informed, months ahead of time that it was going to be both a box office release and a streaming release, but I'm guessing it was Disney's refusal to share any of the substantial profit, because I believe half the profit was made from the streaming release on home video. That's kind of a problem for you to cut your stars like that, especially if you're going to go ahead and release it same day. You probably should put an updated clause in someone's contract for it.
And it just goes back to proving why maybe you shouldn't have delayed it so much, or because it was delayed 20,000 different times, and if you just put it out when you were supposed to put it out, this probably wouldn't have been a problem.
No.
But yeah, it was kind of like the problems with Apple and Google and stuff have been having, and Facebook, because all these laws that was created for tech companies, computer companies, and internet companies, they're all 50 years old.
Yeah.
And it's how so many things change over the years. You kind of gotta update that now and stuff, and and things like internet, like we was talking about Fair Street 1994. Back then, hardly no one had internet, and But nowadays, like, internet is such a huge, part of your life now. Like, a lot of people can't do their jobs without the internet.
Right.
You can't do nothing. You can't play games without the internet. You can't watch movies without the internet.
You can't even
Yeah.
apply for a job without the internet in some
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, and then so like this is just like probably an old contract they had with Scarlett, and then they went and because of the pandemic put it out on streaming on Disney Plus and stuff, but didn't change the contract with Hall, updated it to where it would fit better
Right.
with it, and then also this came out probably yesterday. Emma Stone, who plays Cruella in the Cruella prequel movie, she's actually the exact same thing happened to Hall. She was supposed to be, Hall contract said that Hall profit gets from the movie release, the theater release, but they released it on, I don't know if they even released, no, they did in theaters, but no one went and watched it because it was all on,
digital.
Yeah, so and they didn't give Hall that cut. Even though it supposed to have been really good, made a lot of money on Disney Plus, just like they say Black Widow did, but they're not getting the cut.
Right. It is a problem, and it makes you wonder, aside from Disney, how many other, like, I know the new Conjuring movie came out on HBO, and I wonder, you haven't heard anything really publicly about the actors or actresses or anyone else being upset or bringing that to the forefront that they're not getting a cut from the streaming service. So I don't know if it's all companies or if it's just Disney dragging their feet trying to update their legal contracts.
Well, I doubt they are updating it. They just, like I said in a previous podcast, a bunch of old men like, back in my day we didn't get paid for that. It's like, why should you? It's like, this ain't the same world we living in back in 1972.
Well, you're just also like, back in your day you used to complain about not getting paid about it. So now things are a little more fair. Congratulations. Hopefully, at least going forward, actors will be able to read their contracts first and make sure that streaming cuts are in there as well. I guess it depends on what happens in this court case, because it'll be filed in California, and it's probably going to take a week or two to be heard, and then, depends on what the federal government. I guess it'll be an interesting thing to follow.
Well, to be fair, there was no Disney Plus when they started making this movie.
Right.
So that was not ever an issue that would have been brought up. But yeah, they're probably gonna be some really long legal battle and stuff. I did saw an article, and I don't know if they was trying to say something about it, negative against Scarlett, but it was talking about how she got paid like $20 million for Endgame, and I looked at like Robert Downey Jr. got like $75 million, and like Chris Evans only got like $15 million. But here's the difference, because I'm pretty sure they all said this in a interview one time, just like she was talking about here, to get money from the box office. When it does great, they get even more money, so they get that Robert Downey Jr. got that $75, then probably another $75 million, again, because how great Endgame did at the box office. And I'm sure Chris Hemsworth got a lot too, but I don't think Scarlett did. So, and I think that's what a lot of people not understanding with when they released that little list that they did. I can't remember what article, what website that did, but I think she complained about that once before, not too long, like just 2 years ago, when Endgame came out and stuff. So
that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see the breakdown. I'm sure maybe their excuse would be is because she wasn't as prominent in the movie, maybe, but
yeah, she wasn't a main, because she didn't have her own movie at that time.
Yeah.
But
so the other thing coming out for Disney Plus is they will have Hawkeye releasing on November 24th. So that'll be interesting. I wonder if that's going to tie into Black Widow, the end of Black Widow.
I'm sure it will. We haven't. I don't think we have really hauled much about it, but the one thing we have hauled that Hawkeye will be handing the mantle off to Kate Bishop, who was, his apprentice, sidekick in the comics. So, but I think it'd be an interesting show.
Yeah.
It'd probably be better as a movie because all the other MCU TV shows has seemed like it'd been better just as a movie. Make it 2 hours and a half long. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I don't get about short. Kind of like Masters of the Universe would have been better as just a movie. It was only 5 episodes, so.
Yeah, and have, like Batman, The Long Halloween Part 1, and now we're going to get another movie, Part 2.
Yeah.
And even that, I think it should have been just all one. Give me a 3-hour epic, like at Lord of the Rings, and I'm good.
Something cool that happened was Shamak, the deepfake editor, has been hired by Disney Lucasfilms as senior facial capture artist after his work with Luke and trying to edit that to make it look more natural to have a young Luke.
Yeah, in the last episode of The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Because it was, it was pretty bad. and then he just probably some guy in his mom's basement used the deep fake technology, and I'm pretty sure anyone can really download that program. I should look that up. And it was able to do a much better job than what they did, and I find it very interesting that he just makes YouTube videos doing stuff like that, and then they noticed it and got hired on just to prove to the parents that sometimes doing YouTube can work out.
Yeah.
And
just doing something you're passionate about. So, and apparently he's still going to continue to do YouTube now that he's got everything kind of settled in. So, that'll be interesting. Speaking of the final episode of The Mandalorian, at Comic-Con, a cool new poster was unveiled showing Luke undertaking the training of Grogu. The Grogu, I guess. I say Grogu because I was thinking of Dragon Ball Z. Grogu. The poster showed Luke holding a yellow kyber crystal while Grogu is shown piecing together his lightsaber. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, might be a little tease on for Mandalorian 3 or something. So.
Yeah.
Or maybe a Luke Skywalker and Yoda. I mean, Grogu TV series. That'd be kind of cool.
Now that Schmuck's in charge of doing that capture artist reel.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and it was a pretty awesome poster. Very well done.
Yeah, it did look pretty awesome. I always like the yellow lightsabers. It's just a nice glow to them. So, seems like Disney's doing pretty well. We'll take a look over here and see how DC's doing. The new Flashpoint movie will have 2 Batmans, of course. Ben Affleck will be a Batman. Of course, the Fleckman. Batfleck.
Yeah, Batfleck.
Batfleck. Fleckman. Anyway, an alternate universe Batman will be played by Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Look pretty cool. There is some speculation going on. They're filming in Germany that the bicycle riding Batman wasn't actually Ben Affleck, but because someone pointed out on Twitter, they're like, but Ben Affleck's somewhere else. It's like stunt doubles exist.
Yes, most likely a stunt double riding the motorcycle. Not everyone can be Connie Reeds.
You're right. So, I mean, I know Ben Affleck wanted to do
Cruise.
A lot of his own stunts, but if literally all they're filming is the driving portion of the city, then they probably don't need Ben Affleck to be driving his motorcycle.
Well, there was a leak of, the Robert Pattinson's Batman driving a motorcycle, but it wasn't Robert Pattinson. It was one of the stunt doubles. So
it probably is. They pointed out that the motorcycle and the suit looked like Ben Affleck's Batman's suit and motorcycle styling, in particular from the Snyder Cut stuff. So probably Batfleck running around on a motorcycle, but
and hopefully we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne and his version of Batman, where Bruce Wayne dies and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, and Martha Wayne becomes the Joker. So that happens in the Flashpoint comics. So really hope we see that in this one.
Man, that's got to be interesting because the guy who played Dean Winchester, name of right now, because of course I can't.
Jensen.
Yeah, Jensen Ackles. God, my mom's gonna kill. Hi, Mom. I love you. I didn't forget your favorite actor's name, but Jensen. It's probably like it could have been perfect. Could have had Jensen Ackles as Batman and Jeffrey D. Morgan as future alternate Batman, and just be like Supernatural all over again. Yeah, it's interesting. Kind of going back to the whole Warner Brothers being upset about the Flash using time travel, but they're doing a whole movie on the Flash using time travel. It's probably something stupid like studio executive knew they were going to make this movie and for some reason thought that they had to save that as a surprise for fans, so they didn't want to put it into another movie. Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the reason they were mad about that.
I think they just dumb, but that's just me.
Pretty dumb. Well, see what Warner Brothers should do is kind of like take a hint from Japan. Natsuno Kadokawa is going to take a 20% pay cut after a backlash from pro-censorship remarks he made. He decided he'd do that for 3 months coming up through October through December. It's a self-imposed pay cut for repentance. Kadokawa is the president of a publishing firm that handles a lot of manga. Many manga artists were upset by his comments that he did on a kind of a private show. He had gone on to talk on a radio station as just himself, not necessarily representing his company. Of course, when you're the president of a company, you can't really distance yourself from that position. Yeah. Anyway, many manga artists were upset by his comments, remarking that it is the pro-freedom approach that causes many in the West to enjoy manga more than the adult graphic novels that we have in the West. Mm-hmm. See, Kadoka had mentioned that he was afraid that Google and Apple were going to start rejecting manga because of the censorship that we have in the West.
So what does Google and Apple got to do with it, though?
I'm guessing when books and stuff are rented from like Google Play or Apple, when you're downloading manga, that's what he said.
How many people are going to Google Play and Apple books to read manga?
Depends on...
I don't know, one person. No? I mean, yeah, you can download a manga app, from the app store from Google or Apple, but I mean, like...
I don't know how much, say, Google or Apple, though, has over, like, say, Shonen Jump has their app, and you can go on there. So I don't know if Google and Apple go through and look at the individual titles on there and say, this isn't...
No.
I doubt it, too. Maybe it's just him not understanding how Google and Apple work, but that's what he stated was going to be what he saw as maybe a problem, which he was kind of baited into it because they asked him pretty much if gratuitous animation needed to be in a manga, and he said, well, there isn't really a problem here, but in the West they might have an issue with it, like Google or Apple, so you might have to start drawing a line in the sand. And then a lot of manga artists were upset and saying that they're worried about publishing their manga through there if he was the president, and then he was going to have that stance and start trying to censor their manga, which is understandable.
Yeah, I just don't understand where the Google and Apple thing came in. I find it very interesting that, Japanese executives and stuff would do this, would take a 20% pay cut or like step down as executives and stuff, because I don't think it was called Square Enix at that time, but when they released Final Fantasy Spirit Within, and it was a failure at the box office, all the executives at Square stepped down, and they all themselves demoted themselves, and these were all high ranking, like CEOs and presidents and stuff, stepped down and had the assistants, became the CEOs and stuff. I just find that funny, but here in, America, we got presidents at like Lucasfilm who just call you a man baby and stuff for not liking crappy ideas,
right.
And, it's like they can't admit that they was wrong, but here the Japanese, like, you can't understand, like you was saying, like, you understand what he was saying, and he like, I was wrong, I'm stepping down. Or I guess he's not stepping down, but he
take a 20% pay cut for the next 3 months, starting in October to December. But It's because in Japan,
Then like Disney executives took 1 month cut during the pandemic, and then went back and got it all and make everyone else work where they stayed at home.
yeah, sounds about like it. Yeah, in Japan, it's the business structure because I actually read that a lot in business books. So they talk about the Japanese business model is that you think of the future of your company in the next 100 years and where you want it to be.
Hmm.
So anytime there's an issue, your identity is so tied up with your company and wanting to get it to where you want it to be to succeed and really caring about your company, then that's why, well, would it be better for us to stay or would it be better for the company if we stepped down or if we took a pay cut in this case? Then, and it is, because honestly what he said wasn't, it was understandable. I mean, he was just commenting that for shonen manga, do young boys really need to see women drawn scantily? Kind of, I'm pretty sure that's what the context they were saying. And he was like, oh, not really. You know, in other words, a manga could survive if it was just fighting. What were you saying?
Yeah, they do. They need to see it.
They need to see it. I mean, as a young girl, I can say I did enjoy Dragon Ball Z for several reasons. Mostly because you got to see shirtless dudes all the time. It kind of goes both ways, especially with anime. But he was just saying it doesn't necessarily, they don't have to be. And apparently he also cussed during the radio, his little call-in he did, because he said he was sorry for any kind of foul language he used. Didn't get that in transcript, but yeah, it's just, it goes back to kind of the whole issue with Smith is that he could have just not said anything online. Yeah, that's just the best way to deal with a troll, really, honestly, is just not to talk to people. And don't talk to your...
Well, I mean, like you just said, like, it's kind of understandable what he's saying. You know, manga is getting bigger and bigger here. They want it to get even more bigger, and probably can't get all of the manga that is being produced in Japan because of this, you know, censorship and stuff. I feel like there's just so many workarounds where you don't have to go through Google or Apple. Like, it's, again, like I'm failing to understand why he would say Google and Apple, you know, because like I don't ever go to Apple Books, or it used to be called iBooks, so to download manga or even light novels and stuff. I don't really know anyone that go to Google Play download manga and anime.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like I said, you can go and download like, what was the app you said? Jump.
Yeah, Shonen Jump has their own
Shonen
app.
Jump. Like, yeah, you can go there and download the apps, and I think you can read all mangas, right?
Yeah, you can.
So like, and I'm sure like you can easily put, you know, if you go to webtoons and stuff, like, oh, you had to be 18 or older to read this and stuff, and you know, porn. Like, yeah, any kid can go on the internet, type in, you know, Pornhub and get to porn, and it's like, are you 18 or older? I'm like, yeah, then there you go. You know,
Yeah.
that's not on them because they put that warning out and said, hey, you have to be 18 or older. If you're not, then that's your problem, not ours. You know, and that's where I'm looking at, you know,
Well,
at it.
Japan is a lot more strict on their censorship in ways than a lot of the Western, well, America anyway, with a lot of the stuff they show. Because I remember, of course, I never really researched it to fact check this, but like, porn in Japan isn't actually like hentai. They don't actually show anything. It's actually when it gets to America, they draw in all the genitalia because you're not allowed to show that in Japan. But then again, I am playing Code Vein, and I do remember when it came out that part of the problem in when it was released to the West and to America was because one of the main characters is kind of a little bit scantily clad. Like, not that bad, honestly. I guess maybe it's just a suggestion of it. And I think there was a big backlash about that. Because I remember reading about that character, and honestly, I didn't want to play the game because I was disturbed by what they were saying. But it's not... America's rating system is kind of weird, so I do get his fears because it's hard to tell what they're going to be upset about.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we show people in our TV shows that they can be in a bra and underwear, and we're like, it's fine. This It's fine. But if it comes from a different country, we're like, oh no, this is lewd. We can't show that.
Yeah, like a lot of those like Fox and stuff. There's some pretty spicy, sex scenes in there. You know what I mean? Like you don't see nothing. They always fully clothed, but like or they under the covers and stuff. But even a little kid knows what's going on,
right?
Because it's so, or supernatural. I mean, look how many times all those sex scenes and not leaving much to the imagination. You know.
So if you see, like that character, she's got raggedy clothes on, and you can see her cleavage, and you can see pretty high up on her thigh, but it's pretty much the equivalent of like characters, and it's not for kids. The game isn't for kids anyway, but it's like anything else. You see characters with their cleavage showing on TV in short skirts. So those are real humans.
Americans are weird. That's how it is.
It is. But to continue on with his fears being, or like the manga artists were saying, it's the freedom that they have in Japan to kind of do whatever story that they want to, especially story-wise, that makes manga one of the best-selling graphic novels here in the West, because according to NPD books and data, the manga has been dominating the top 20s for the last 3 months now. I mean, for adult graphic novels, manga has been the only thing in the top 20s for the last 3 months.
It's been longer than that. I think almost all of 2020 and coming 2021.
Yeah, it's been really.
It's always like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titans, and then you get a few other ones that just came out and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like the anime just came out.
Or even some that don't have an anime yet, like Chainsaw Man. Although I think Chainsaw Man finally does have an anime.
I don't think it's released yet, but yeah, it's coming out very soon.
Yeah, they had Chainsaw Man, and then Spy and Family. Apparently doesn't have an anime, but it's still.
But that's a pretty new manga that just hit.
But it is still more popular than anything else. I'm guessing that's even taking into data that the Keanu Reeves comic book would have got. So there's just a lot more inherent faith built in for a manga to be well written than there is a comic book.
I don't. like Demon Slayer, like now I'm going through and reading it. It's not that great, and it's always just been your typical anime storyline, but like reading, and it could be just the translation, but that's what everyone else is reading, because I highly doubt that many people are can read Japanese,
right.
So I'm reading the exact same thing what everyone else is reading, and it's not that great. The dialogue is not great at all. I keep seeing more and more all these like isekais become very popular and stuff, and none of them have been all that great to me, and they just like I don't see it being better than a lot of these comic books are. I think it's more, and I think you said this when we first reported about the top 20 was all manga, and then a Geeking Around Light episode, that people just probably tired of hearing the same old story about Batman. Like, yeah, we already heard this story before. We already heard this story of Superman. We already heard the story of Captain America, because they've been out for almost a century.
Right.
Where, My Hero Academia is, very new. It got a new, fresh, storyline. It is better. No, it's new and fresh.
It's new characters. I mean, that really is the same thing. You can have, because it's always the thing they'll say about shonen, is that you have a protagonist that's going to be overpowered, and they're going to go through and destroy everything, and they might have a little trouble, but at the end they're going to win everything. But you have new characters, so there's always something new to the story. If it's Tanjiro, or if it's Naruto's son Boruto, or if you have Deku from My Hero Academia, it's a new character. It's also, though, you'll see it with like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super. It's still going on, but people are kind of getting tired of the story because
I
it's
got tired
still
of the story a long time ago.
yeah, because it's still the same thing. The mangaka got tired of the story a long time ago. He retired. So
Just like Bleach, I think that should have been over a long time ago. One Piece.
yeah, One Piece.
One
God
Piece
bless
has
One
gotten
Piece.
so long that it needs to just continue. Like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It got to a point where it got so long. It just gotta continue. I don't care if they're making the artist, in his deathbed still write on it. I don't care. They're gonna take it to his grave.
I forget what his name is because he's got a name that's pretty ringy, like OG or something. I think it is OG. He might, because he married, Nami? Nami from One Piece, the orange-haired girl in One Piece. He married the actress who played that character in a stage play of his anime, manga. So I feel like he would have no problem having a child with her and then raising his child and being like, you will continue this manga one of these days. And then having several children be like, you will all continue this manga one of these days. We will have One Piece go on and on forever.
But speaking of One Piece, actually, it has overtaken Batman as the most selling comic or manga, whatever, and overall the whole time, not just in 1 month, but like the whole lifetime it been out. Batman was the most selling comic, and it's almost century being here, being released. But One Piece either is either really close and will be, or it did.
And it's only been out for 20 years. They're about a little under 20. It's been about 15.
I thought that was before Dragon Ball Z.
No. Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay.
One Piece, because Dragon Ball Z came out in the 80s. And One Piece came out the same time Naruto came out, because originally the creator of One Piece had been kind of mad at the creator of Naruto because he was going to name one of his characters Naruto because his eyebrows were swirly. Sanji.
But so how did he get more episodes, chapters, than what everyone else? Because Dragon Ball Z never really stopped.
Well, it did. Dragon Ball Z stopped. The anime continued, but Dragon Ball Z, beat for beat, matched the anime. There wasn't any extra episodes. But it was like the anime's in their 600s, 800s, thousands episodes. And for a long time, Naruto...
One Piece and Dragon Ball Z, that's all.
Yeah, but Dragon Ball Z continued on with Super later, and GT was anime only.
Yeah.
So
then you got that crappy remake, remaster, I guess, Kai.
Yeah, it has Kai, and then it's got Super now, but Super doesn't have Akira Toriyama in it at all. So if you're original creator, it's just been One Piece. Because Naruto and One Piece were right along the same lines, but Naruto stopped 3 or 4 years back, and now it has a new spin-off series. But the difference between One Piece and Batman is that One Piece hasn't stopped and restarted. It's a continuing story, so it hasn't stopped, and it's Luffy, but now we're back to the beginning, and this is chapter 500, but it's really, start one. It's just been a continuous story the whole time. Unlike, like you said, with Batman, they do throw new ideas in, but it's always, this is Batman, but this is a new reiteration of Batman. This is the Joker, but this is a new Joker.
They do the origin story and stuff.
Yep, that's your difference. I don't really know, because even Dragon Ball doesn't do that. Like Dragon Ball Z, people are getting kind of tired of Dragon Ball Super, because it's the same thing. Every time Goku goes up against somebody, he's going to win. He just can't not win. But even that, you haven't restarted it except for Kai. But you haven't gone back and said, this is a different story. I mean, they kind of have. They always change what Goku's father does for some reason. They always change how much Bardock knows about what's going to happen to his son. At first, he was a stupid Saiyan, didn't know anything. Then all of a sudden, he was able to see the future. Now all of a sudden, he's a caring father with a wife that he loved who could see the future. But now he can't see the future. Yeah, they change that all the time. But yes, long live manga and anime. Okay, so Blizzard has been investigated by the California government and has been shown to actually be sexist assholes.
like normally when I hear a story like this, like because they said it was a frat boy, kind of thing. When I think of frat boy type of environment, I think of like just a bunch of guys getting drunk and doing
Right?
stupid shit. Like I can see a woman not liking that, but but no, they've been doing this, investigating this for years and finding to have done actual pretty bad things and kind of almost like hearing about Harvey Weinstein and shit,
Yeah.
and so
It's kind of like frat boys as far as hazing wise. Like, hey, if you're going to do this, if you're my secretary, you have to
yeah,
eat cheese off my feet. I'm not saying that happened. And I'm not saying I'd ever do something to someone like that, but that's what I imagine something very that would be the probably tip of the iceberg kind of thing. But yeah, that's it's shitty when you find stuff out like that about a company.
yeah,
I'll have to ask my friend Char about that. She was a big World of Warcraft player back in the day, so
yeah.
well, still.
Been seeing a lot of people saying that they no longer playing World of Warcraft. They no longer playing. I think Overwatch is by Blizzard.
And isn't well, I guess it was probably canceled now, right? Star Wars: The Old Republic was also by Blizzard too, yeah.
I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah.
And Diablo
Yeah.
as well. And so yeah, but yeah, it's a bad thing. You just I don't see why. Of course, this would be from California because I mean, California act like they all about diversity and shit, but really they probably the worst people about about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they probably the most racist people.
Racist and sexist, and
Yeah.
they have the worst problem. And child molesters, it's just a
Drug
haven for all
addicts
that
and-
shit. I mean, you could look at New York. New York's not that bad.
Used
You
to be,
would think New York would be worse.
Yeah, but that because Mayor Rudy Johnny I can't remember his name now.
Ruby Giuliani.
Yeah.
There you go.
He got air quotes all the mafia out of there and all the criminals.
Yeah.
Well, he did. He just gave money to the mafia and they killed off all the petty criminals.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that's damn Blizzard.
But yeah, fucking California.
I guess I'm glad. I don't know why it took years of investigation. Why did it take years of investigation? You wouldn't think you'd like go in there and after like a month or two you'd be like, well, this is, because there's laws, lots of laws about workplace harassment, on and on. So you would think like after 3, they'd be like, okay, well, obviously we can now confront the situation. Why would you take years of investigation?
Yeah, California. I guess. So like, those women be all right.
Yeah.
Let's go to that feminist rally.
They're being threatened at their jobs by their bosses they're going to go to their house and kill their families. I'm not saying that's what happened. I haven't actually read the threats, but I'm just trying to imagine what kind of situation you'd be in. And I know if someone gets power hungry, they kind of get to the point where, yeah, you get threatened that you'll lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll even threaten your family because they're like, well, I know where you live and blah, blah, blah. And, they'll actually, I guess the worst part of it is they can threaten to make sure that you'll never get hired on at another software company or anywhere else in that kind of field. Because that's usually the biggest threat that a company can do against you is to say they'll blacklist you.
Yeah.
So no one else will ever hire you again.
And I know that like the last few years, a lot of people have been quitting there at Blizzard. They've been having a lot of problems with people quitting. Now we know why.
Yeah.
It's a bad work environment.
I mean, yeah, I think we've seen that before, that there's development things, issues and stuff like that. And that's why.
Like I can understand like you want to have a, like I said, going back to like the frat boy thing, I'm thinking people just getting drunk and partying and stuff. Like if you look at like Pixar and a lot of other animation studios, a lot of them, they have a pretty carefree, but it's like a happy carefree, and not like whatever you can, do whatever the fuck you want type of thing. But they have a playful carefree thing, and but that's that's not what going on here.
Yeah.
With Blizzard, it's exact opposite.
It really, like you said, probably shouldn't call it a frat boy. That's like, it's kind of insulting the victims of the situation to be like, oh yeah, you're victims of frat boys. It's like it's victims of college age idiots.
Yeah.
No,
like,
it's called workplace
Wait,
harassment. It's called, I don't know what our tyranny, Nazism. Yeah, we'll call them Nazis.
we call them Nazi. We cancel like Gina Carano.
Yeah, any place that's pretty horrible is a Nazi to me.
But yeah.
So make sure that if you're playing an online video game, it's based out of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's the safest bet.
Yeah, because if they fuck up, the executives will cut the pay or step down.
Yep, except although Japan is well known, man, even Boruto.
What's the samurai suicide thing?
Oh, Senpaktu?
Senpaktu? Yeah, they do Senpaktu.
Yep.
I disown of my company, now I must die.
They would, although they were Japan. I mean, even Boruto did an episode on it that in Japan they make their animators and the people developing video games and stuff, like they won't pay them and they'll make them work horrendous hours to try to, kind of probably like how they do here in the States where they're like, hey, it's illegal for me to ask you to do this off the clock, but I won't pay you overtime, but the stuff needs to get done or you're going to lose your job. So then you only have so many options.
That's actually called crunch time.
Yep.
Like once they're, because they only have a contract to, a certain amount, like say 6 months, and if it gets longer than that, and then they have to do it for free.
Yep.
So
it's a big problem in Japan. That's a big problem all over the world. Apparently.
Yeah, I was saying that's what happens here in America. I'm not sure if that happens in Japan too, but I guess so.
Yeah, that's at least our version of it. Well, thank you guys for sticking around. We'll see you next time for Geeking Round Light.
Yeah, and be the Batman Long Halloween
Woohoo.
review. That'd be part 1 and 2.
There we go.
Yeah.
Until later, see ya. Gabrielle out.
See ya.